Welcome to yet another episode of Success Principles by Successful Principles. For the ones who know me, my name is Kamalneet Singh. For the ones who don't know me, my name is still Kamalneet Singh. The name doesn't change. And I'm a teenage mindset coach. I'm on a mission to impact 1 million lives over the next few years. And making a difference in someone's life begins with different processes. And I believe that one of them, which is very, very crucial, is parenting. Now, in our country, we have just about everything. We got a degree to manufacture a pin. We got a degree to manufacture a plane. But somehow, one of the most complicated at times, one of a complex process, we do not have too many things available. And I'm talking about parenting. Every parent, with my experience, wherever I go, be it any school or in conversation with any part of the country, any parent, not even in fact our country, but just about any part of the globe, you talk to any parent and you ask them that what is it that you really want your child to be, and the answer is generally a very common one, and all the parents, they end up saying that we want our kids to be successful and good human beings, and that's what they really say. And then some of them would also say that we would want them to be happy, successful, and but that's one answer that they give. Yet at the same time, are we making enough effort to see to the fact that they become successful in terms of whatever their definition is? They become happy. Are we leaving their happiness to chance? If you're talking about they becoming good human beings, are we really putting in a conscious effort? So that is something one must really look at. And the whole idea of and this whole idea came about when because of pandemic, having a conversation with parents and kids, I realized that both of them had a different kind of a struggle, and both of them are right at their own place. And the idea was that if we do something to make a slight difference to both the communities, be it the parents or the kids, it will really change their relationship. It will make a huge difference in who they are and who they can be. And nobody can. They say that a dream really needs a team, and that's how things started. And then I'm very glad that there are school leaders from different parts of the country, and in fact different parts of the globe, who have come together, given their consent to be a part of this journey, and I'm really thankful. And today is a very special day. We got somebody who is very, very special. We got an educator with us, whose ideas will really make a difference to this conversation. So anybody who's watching this, so there are really no guarantees in life, but I can give you one guarantee. If you take these inputs that are coming your way, and if you implement them, it's going to make a huge difference in the life of your child and eventually your life as a parent. Because every parent wants that my child should become the best version of himself or herself. And this act of we helping them to become the best version, we really need inputs from different walks of life, from different people. And I'm extremely glad that we have somebody whose inputs can really, really give you a different angle to the whole idea of parenting, to the whole idea of what we term as success, to the whole idea of what our kids can become, what is their possibility of becoming in the future. So we have Mr. Vividh Gupta with us, and he is the principal at Bal Bhawan Public School, Mayur Vihar, Delhi. And first of all, I would really want to thank him for taking out his time to be a part of this journey and joining us. Now he's somebody, I have had the opportunity to interact with him. And I can tell you one thing, we have heard this phrase called out of the box. So when you hear him today, you will actually see what I mean when I say that, thinking out of the box, because his ideas are really out of the box. In fact, a lot of times when you meet people, you come across conventional ideas, but when you hear him today, you will really understand what out of the box thinking is, how passion has made a difference in his school, in his life, and how is he making a difference in the lives of students in his school. Now, he needs no introduction, by the way, but just to give you a brief background on the same, he has been conferred upon with something which is very, very powerful and very, very, something which is very special. He has been recognized and acknowledged as a new and aspiring school leader from Harvard Graduate School of Education. Now, he has been certified as he has been conferred with different certificates on professional development, right from international study visits for school leaders in Finland, a certificate of professional development at 13th International Study Visit for school leaders in UK, certificate of excellence at Journey Back to School 2018, leadership conclave at the Sindhya School Gwalior. He has also been, conferred upon with something which is which is very close to every educator's heart, which is none other than the Dr. Dr. S. Radhakrishna Samman 2018 by Avantika contribution in the field of education and promoting Indian arts and culture. He has received the prestigious Guru Drona Awards 2018 from SRM University in association with Action Committee of Unaided Recognized Private Schools. And his content, his ideas, his wisdom has been shared across different platforms, different media, different print news, and different parts of content pieces across the internet. Now, I know that you as an audience, you would be keenly waiting to, look at his inputs, understand from him, and then actually go back, implement it in your life, and make a difference. To begin with, Vividh, a warm welcome to the episode, and really thankful to you for taking our time.
Thank you, Kamalneet, for such a humble introduction. I've never expected to hear so much about myself before this. So thank you so much. Really, heartfelt thanks, because I'm really humbled to listen all the introduction that you've given me. Thank you.
My pleasure. In fact, you definitely deserve it, and especially your ideas on education, the way you look at it's a different lens altogether, and it really feels wonderful when you come across an educator whose lens to look at the spectrum of life, the spectrum of education, is pretty unconventional, and I'm really looking forward to this. And as I was talking, in the whole introduction part, and that parents are really, I would rather say that all the parents, just about every one of them, would want that our kids should become really successful. And this is it's a pretty broad term that every parent would want to look at. Now, I wanted to take your idea on the same, that for a child to become successful in the real life, right, and the so-called real life, what do you think? What does it take?
So, Kamalneet, I feel that success is something which is different for everybody. So when I define success for myself, it really does not mean that I earn a lot of fame, I have power, I have money. For me, being successful would actually mean that, I'm able to help somebody in their lives and make them grow as an individual. So, as an educator, I definitely feel that I take a step ahead always to understand what my students' needs are. And I want to cater them in such a way that they feel confident while working on anything. It really does not matter whether we are able to achieve something, we are able to be the winners, because, today there is a horse race. Everybody just wants to win. And somehow the schools, the educators, the parents, everybody is now preparing the children that, you need to be the best. You need to be ahead in the race. And if you were not there, you don't stand anywhere. But believe me, I actually feel that it really does not matter. So our definition of success, being successful, has to be very carefully, woven. And we need to very carefully use this word with our students. So until we give them an idea that, being successful actually means that you need to be independent. For me, being successful means that I am completely independent of my thoughts, and I am somebody who's, ready to accept the criticism and learn from that criticism. Until there are times, even with me, sometimes when there is a critique on the way, I would, just defend myself. But then later on, when I am alone, when I give a reflection on what somebody has spoken to me, then I realize that no, there is something about it. And why not take a dig into it and find out what it's all about? And then when I eventually get into that situation and I get into the shoes of the other person, then I realize, okay, yes, this is also one perception and I need to accept it and I need to work in that direction. I think that really helps one in the life. So accepting criticism, I think, is very important. And as for my students also, I tell them that, really do not bother if you're making mistakes, because if today you are not making mistakes, you will make bigger mistakes in your life. So it really, really does not matter. And as educators and teachers, I tell my teachers that please allow the children to make mistakes, because if they will not make mistakes today, how are they going to learn? So that's very, very important.
I really picked up a few points from the conversation wherein you said, allow them to make mistakes. And, it's a very powerful point. It is all the parents watching this, all the parents listening to this, all the educators watching this. I believe if we can, and I fully support and agree with the point, somehow I feel that, parents, they are, they kind of don't like the fact that my child is making a mistake. Yet you're hearing from a very, very seasoned educator that allow them to make mistakes. I think I'll probably go a step forward and say that, if we can have a tattoo, which is surrounded in the rooms of the parents, maybe, so they can actually see that, allow them to make mistakes, because one of the reasons of, a contention between a child and a parent is when a parent gets to know that his child has made a mistake. That changes the whole ballgame of the relationship. And get all the parents listening, I think the message is very sound and loud and clear, that allow them to make mistakes. And Vividhji, I really like the whole idea when you said that, somebody ends up criticizing you, and this is coming from a very seasoned educator such as you, that somebody says something, maybe in the moment of it, you might have a defense mechanism. But when you go back and you see that, okay, maybe there was a point in what was being said, and can I make a difference there? Can I really make a change out there? I think that's a huge point. I think in today's world, I see that, and I'm going to be very candid over this. I've been to different schools all across. Sometimes, while waiting at the reception, I see there's a parent who barges in with their child and speaks to the lady at the reception that, please call that teacher who said so and so to my child. And the child actually sees that, my father or my mother is supporting me, even if I was wrong. And I think that can change the whole equation between, a teacher and a child, and so with the parent. So the point is very powerful. Learning to handle criticism and, and failing forward. I think that's what the message is coming our way. All the parents out there. So winning is yes, which keeps ringing in your head. But I think failing is a word that you must consciously make an effort to adapt for your kids, because eventually if they fail and they'll fail forward, it will really make a difference. And these are not my thoughts. These are coming from a seasoned educator such as Vividhji. So moving on, every parent is looking at, and the point you mentioned in terms of success, that every parent is looking at success and the definition can be very different. And as an educator, as somebody who manages a school, as somebody who sees to the fact that right things are being done in the school so that the teachers can percolate the same culture in the school. So I wanted to ask you, so what is it that we are following at Bal Bhavan? Maybe a philosophy or two, which focuses on the holistic development, a practice or so, which is focused on the holistic development for the kids.
Yeah. So at Bal Bhavan, we actually believe that your wings already exist. All you need to do is fly. That's something which I personally very firmly believe. And I have tried that this is visible in all the activities of the school as well. So at our school, what we are trying to do is we open up all the vents to the children. We give them ample opportunities to explore, be it academics, be it sports, co-curriculum, be dance, music, dramatics. So the children can actually, dig into all the fields, try their hands out, and understand what their potential is actually looking like. So we have initiated, Atal Tinkering Lab in our school recently, and the machine learning concepts and everything. We're trying to ensure, even in this virtual environment, we've done various, talk shows where I ensured that more than the speaker, the students need to speak. So we had a student panel, and there was a guest, and the students were actually interviewing that person, and he was counter questioning. And it was really very beautiful when we actually heard some of the thoughts coming from the students, because the children have something which is hidden sometimes. And as a school, as educator, our effort needs to be in a direction where we allow them to come out in their full. So until they are able to come out and see the hidden side of their own personality, I believe that the holistic development cannot take place. Sometimes what happens is, let's go by an example. If I talk about in a forest, there were, there was an elephant, there was a lion, there was a fish, there was a bird, and I tell all of them that, if you want to be the king, then the good thing is that you try to climb up this tree. So you think that a tortoise or a fish or a crocodile will be able to do that and perform that? That's what is happening in the schools. What we are trying to do is we are trying to put everybody at the same platform. We try to evaluate everybody on the same terms. But unfortunately today, when we are talking about 21st century learning happening in the classroom, we need to understand the importance of equity. And that equity is very, very important. Until we provide the equal opportunities to the children. So, sometimes the word equity and equal opportunities are, replaceable. But over here, I'm not saying that. My point is, it's easy for me to provide equal opportunity to everybody. It's very, very simple, and it becomes, in fact, easier for us as a school. But when I talk about equity, it actually means that, one boy is shorter, the other boy is taller. And to bring them at the same place, I'm not providing anything extra to the tall boy, whereas I will provide the shorter boy with some box to come to the level of the tall boy. That's what is equity. So, bringing everybody at par at the same level is something which is very important. So what it takes to bring that, it really needs a lot of effort at the side of the teachers to identify the potential of the children, fill that empty space for them so that they actually feel confident and feel that, I am also at par with them and I can also do it. That's how it is.
Which is a very powerful point. I love the whole example when you said, if you're looking at all these animals available in the jungle and in the forest, and then we're looking at all of them climbing the tree, and that will decide their kingdom or their position. Absolutely. I believe 90% of them in their head they would already declare, hum to already haar gaye, we have lost the game any which ways.
Actually.
And you said something, in fact, I would request you to repeat that one. I really love that part. You said that the assumption is that we already got the wings. You said something on similar lines.
So the idea that we here at Bal Bhawan believe is that, your wings already exists. And what you need to do is just fly. So, I'll share a very beautiful example that is happening at my school, even during the virtual schooling. Now, what is happening is, while most of the educators are actually struggling to evaluate and assess the students during the virtual environment, what we are doing is we are deploying various techniques and strategies to actually assess the children. Yes, we are also taking the unit test. We have organized the half-yearly examinations. We did proctoring and we ensured that there was no cheating happening. But that was not the only thing which will which will make the teacher assess the child. So what we are doing is we plan certain activities during the summer holidays, which was a completely integrated project, and the children were supposed to work on those lines. And then we've allowed the children to actually decide their medium of presenting their ideas. So they can actually use a Flipgrid video, so they can record themselves and share that with the teacher. If he feels that I'm a good orator, if somebody feels, no, I want to write it, pen it down and then share it with the teacher, we are allowing that also to the students. If the child feels, no, I want to put it in a form of an art piece and then I want to present it to the teacher, we're also allowing that. So the idea is what education is. If I want, to achieve something, if I want to learn something and my teacher want to assess me, is it only that the pen paper test is the medium to assess me? No, I don't think. In today's scenario where CBSE is also, initiating a lot of, there are a lot of efforts that CBSE is making. Art integration is happening, then experiential learning is happening. So we are also deploying a lot of quizzes in our classes, in the virtual sessions. So even it is a 40-minute session, we try and engage the students in such a manner where, yes, the teacher is definitely delivering the lesson, but the students are also given the ownership. And until they are given the ownership, their participation cannot be, assumed. And the learning has to happen for them. And if we are able to involve them positively, if we are able to engage them in these virtual classes, I believe that the learning will be something which will remain with them for a longer period. So that's how it is happening at our school.
I think that's a brilliant project that is being undertaken, and I think it's a great initiative. I really love the point when you said that it's based on the photo of a child, whether if he's good at speaking, so he takes the video mode, he's comfortable with the video, he takes the video mode. Somebody has a flair for writing, so he takes the writing mode, and then somebody would want to do it in a different way, he can present it accordingly, which I think you're referring to the flexibility of the learner,
Yes.
privilege to present the ideas based on his forte, which I think is the way forward. And exactly, I correlated with the example that if the goal is to we're looking at the tree, but if you're making different mediums available and not just climbing through the trunk of it, if you're making different mediums available, I think people will probably figure out. Not that everybody would be able to make it up, but in a given circumstance, whatever potential a child has, if he is given the option to present in his style, in his way of expressing, I think that will really make a difference to him. And which is actually beautiful. And I think parents watching, parents listening, the message is also that while the school is taking an initiative, while different schools are taking different initiatives, if the third party, which is, let's say we are looking at a child, we are looking at the school system completely, including the teachers and everybody who's involved, if the parent can join in the effort which is being made and takes an active effort and an active involvement to understand what is really being done, I think for a child also the experience will totally differ. As simple as, because he will feel, while I'm doing this project, even my parents are involved, and I personally feel that and this is stemming from what I heard from you in our previous conversation. When as a child, that everybody is involved in your growth, including your parents, it really makes a difference. I truly feel. And that's that. And I'll probably take this privilege and ask you something which we spoke about the last time. You spoke about a holistic idea to the whole process. And we spoke the last time that, while you were growing up, you faced some challenges in the classrooms.
Yes, absolutely.
And
I think those challenges are something which is very common to everybody. I feel that each individual has their own, part of the challenges in during the growing up years. And this could be, with the friends, this could be with the teachers, this could be with learning, this could be something where I feel, a little demotivated, and I do not feel that, a lot of people around me actually like me. So, it could be umpteen number of reasons and issues around with the students. And I feel that personally, when I was at school, I actually felt that I was given a number of opportunities to come on stage. So, I was completely involved into public speaking, and I was given a lot of opportunities to come up on stage and represent my ideas in debates and in poetries and in dramatics and everything. So, but at the same time, I also felt that, yes, one part of it was that I am good at, oration, I'm good at public speaking. But on the other side, when it comes to your emotional health, it comes to your emotional well-being, you need somebody at your side. So sometimes, when you are good at something, there is a distance that is created with your friend. And when that distance is created, they judge you, they see you as somebody who's an outsider, who's making an impact. And then, the whole process of the challenges start. So I feel that as an educator, it should be our endeavor to ensure that we are ensuring a good and sound emotional health and a social health in the classroom. And that's only possible when cooperative learning is happening in the classroom. And with the idea that the CBSE has also been taking forward in the past, and I have attended a lot of training workshops with them, and I've been working very closely on the handbooks that CBSE is preparing for the educators to come up and use them in the classroom, especially on the cooperative learning. I realize that until a teacher ensures that alongside the learning, she is also responsible to ensure that a social bonding is built between the students. Once that social bonding is built, I believe that whatever challenges are there, you do not see them as challenges. Actually, you actually love them, and you try that, I'm going to conquer it. I'm going to be the winner. I'm going to achieve it. And you look forward. The way forward is very positive in that regard. So that has to be an attempt in the future, where once we come back to the normal routine, the students are in the physical classroom. I think the attempt has to be in this direction, where alongside the academic endeavor, the teachers are also ensuring that cooperative learning is happening. Because in today's scenario, in today's environment, where we see a lot of dissatisfaction amongst masses, that dissatisfaction reason because we try and compare ourselves with others. When we compare ourselves with others, that dissatisfaction enlarges, and then it kind of inflates. And when that inflates, you actually feel depressed, your emotional health goes down, and slowly and gradually you will try and cut off with others. So I'll go back to my first point that I made, that accepting criticism is also very important. So in a cooperative learning environment, it is the student's self-assessment of himself. It is the peer assessment, that my peers judge me and evaluate me. Okay, this is my potential. This is how I presented it. This could have been done in this manner. So it would have been, much better. So it depends on the perception, and then we accept it. We kind of work on that and we learn together. That's very, very important. So ideally, in a cooperative learning environment, the teacher's role is only to facilitate the learning and the activity and observe what the children are doing, whereas they learn from each other's experiences more. So, and that strengthens the student-student bond, and we see that we are able to build a very happy community. That's very important.
That's a very crucial point. I see it from a standpoint of not only a teacher, but I also see a similar point that we can probably look at home. Because you stemmed upon a point that criticism. I think I don't know who said it, but then there's a line which goes around, which is that, before you correct them, you connect with them. And I picked up the word bond that you use. I think even if the parents have a great bond, and they make a point to their kids that this is not right, or maybe if you can look at whatever the name of the child is, let's say Rahul, this is not the right way of doing things, and why don't you look at this? I think if they have a good connect, if they have a great bond, maybe this is my perspective, that maybe that child will not even look at that point as being criticized. He might look at it from a different lens altogether, that this is being said for my what do you call it, my betterment. And I think the lens will change. So I really like the whole idea of that, you must have that kind of a bond in that whole scenario of cooperative learning. And even at home, when there is bond, I think criticism will be well taken.
I'll share a very example that we are following in the virtual school today. As a school, this environment in the virtual environment is such that the students will switch off the camera. They are behind the cameras, and we do not know what they're doing. So we are organizing virtual assemblies. We are doing fitness classes for them. We are doing life skill sessions apart from the academic endeavors. And then, as a school, as educator, as teachers, we sometimes feel demotivated and see that students are not participating. And even if they're there, they will not, involve themselves in the discussion that is happening, because of the fear that, they don't have that much confidence, that they are thinking that somebody is judging them. So that notion has to go out. So to ensure that, I spoke to my children personally. I've been speaking to them in assemblies. I've been taking the sessions with them for 40 minutes time and again. And then when I spoke to them, I realized that there is something that the children want to feel excited about. So what I did was I introduced this idea of, preparing my own portfolio. So, even in the virtual environment, we are having parents-teacher meeting, and we have already concluded 2 parents-teacher, I think 3 of them we have concluded, and the 4th will be happening in the month of January. So the last PTM that we have had in the month of October, wherein the parents were very happy to see the learning growth of the children. And some of the parents did raise the issue that the children do not switch on the camera, and it is the teacher who should constantly tell the children to switch on the camera, because while they are listening, they're also getting distracted, and that concentration level is certainly not there. So what we thought was that, our idea of schooling is not limited to the academic growth. So we thought that I spoke to the children. I found out that, there are no particular reasons for which they are switching off their cameras. and they're not participating. There is no reason for that. It's just that it's the herd mentality. It's what the other do, I copy that. It's monkey copying the monkey. That's happening. So what I did was I have asked, I don't know how it is going to work out, but then I've asked all my students to prepare a portfolio. And that portfolio has about 15 points where the child has to do some critical analysis of himself, of what he has done from April to December 2020. We've had the morning assemblies. Which virtual morning assembly did he like the most, and how is it impacting his life? What idea does he want to take forward as individual, and would want to revisit those ideas and propagate those ideas, to take a dive into it and furnish it for himself. That's important. Then we also ask the children, which lesson are they liking the most, which subject are they liking the most, and why? What is it that they're liking the most? Is it the teacher's presence that make them feel enthusiastic to participate in that class? Or is it the activities that the teacher is doing with them in the online class? What is it? And why? And how is it helping the child? So then, even we went on to ask the children to, the teachers are asking you to give the classwork and the homework, and the teacher is giving you the feedback on that. Now, which feedback of the teacher is actually helping you, has helped you to perform better in the half-yearly examination? Now what is happening here is the complete charge is in the ball is in the students' court, and they are now actually trying to figure out that what I have done in the past 7-8 months, I could have actually done much more. And now suddenly we are actually able to see that the students are now more enthusiastic. They're participating in the classroom. They're taking the charge of the class, because now they have understood themselves more than we teachers telling them that, you need to participate, switch on the camera. Sometimes we need to give them the reason why they have to do it. And until they've experienced it, they will not do it. So now when I believe that now, since they're going to do it, because in the next PTM, we've asked the children that it is very common where the teacher is giving the report to the parent, what child has done. But in the next PTM, my students will be giving the report to their parents and sharing it in front of the teacher, that see dad, see mom, this is what I've done in the past 8-9 months. And that's the beauty of doing the things, because when the child feels teacher ne bola main camera off rakhta hu, so there is a defense mechanism started. The child will start defending himself. No, the internet was a problem, this was that. We don't want to get into that argument. The idea is that the learning has to happen, come what may. In whatever way we are able to involve the children, that's, I think, the most important thing for us as school. And I think giving them the ownership, okay, you prepare your report, be the charge of your report, and present it to your parents. We know what you are doing. We don't need any authentication from anybody, right? So why not give that charge to the children and let them feel and prepare themselves and evaluate where I am in comparison to my friends.
It's a brilliant initiative that has been taken. I see that the whole initiative is keeping the child in the driver's seat, and now they're the ones who are taking full charge. And I'm just trying to visualize how would that PTM be, wherein the kids are presenting, the teachers are listening to what is being presented, and it is being presented to the parents. I think this is in my the way I see this is that. This is true leadership, which is being displayed by the school, this being displayed by the the whole team at your end, and I'm sure kids will even feel. I think it's a very subtle way of infusing an ingredient called responsibility. Yet at the same time, it's their chance to showcase. This reminds me of a similar conversation happening. And I think all the parents watching, you can pick up. I think it's a gem of an idea. While what a teacher is doing at Bal Bhawan Public School, as a parent, you can steal. I'm just using the word steal, or copy maybe. Copy is a better word maybe. Copy the idea because it works, and use it at the home. And the reason I share this is that in a conversation happening with a particular class, and then there were kids talking about that, the family is talking about, how do we look at cutting expenses? My father is saying that I am on a salary cut, and I cannot probably buy this and that. And I said, what do you think? Is he wrong in saying that? He said, no, he's not really wrong in saying that, but then I really wanted something, and because of the salary cut happening, I am being told that I cannot buy. And I said, see, let's look at this particular thing. Do you have any idea about the expenses happening at home? He said, no, I have never been involved in the whole process. And I said, can you actually look at, discussing it with your parents? can you look at reducing some expenses through your ideas, which will probably save some money and you can eventually buy something? And I just said it in a very casual manner, thinking that he might want to go back and discuss it with the parents. And this boy took it very seriously. He went back and spoke to the parents and had some ideas that he wanted to implement. He came back in one of the sessions and said that, what, I looked at the grocery which is being bought, and I started comparing that if you buy a particular shampoo, so there are different brands coming in. You got a Sunsilk coming in, you got your Head and Shoulders coming in, you got something by Patanjali coming. And he said that, I found that the shampoo by Patanjali is way cheaper, and it solves the same purpose of probably shampooing. And I said, yeah, that's right. And he said, we can save about 50 rupees on a bottle. And so in this conversation, so not promoting anybody, just making an example what the child brought up. And I said, that's one thing that you have picked up. He said, no, that's not one. I have looked at least 15, 16 things. And if grocery is done according to my ideas, I think we'll have the money to buy what I really want. And I said, that's fantastic. And he said, that's in 1 month. But if we keep on doing this, and I said, you can probably create a savings fund out of that. And I really correlate with what you are saying, because given what you are doing in your school, while the kids are in the driver's seat, it makes a huge difference. And I think the message that's also going to the parents in this conversation is, it's high time that the parents, they let the kids lead. And I personally believe when you give charge to the kids, they come out with some brilliant, mind-blowing ideas, which really make a difference.
Right.
Great. So I'm going to dive into your success, and I really want to know that, I know there will be so many things which would have been done at your end, so that you rise to a point where you are today, and you are very successful. So why don't you share with the audience one mantra that made you or that helped you in becoming successful? What would that be?
So, Kamalneet, I'm again repeating the same thing. And one thing that I feel has made me come up to this level is that I have always been open to criticism. I am saying that, but yes, alongside, I will also say that yes, there is a defense mechanism within myself as well. And there were moments when I used to be like, no, don't say that to me. But then, over a period of time, as with my experiences in this field, I started realizing that if I want to create a difference in the life of the children, it's very, very important and pertinent for me to be open to the ideas of others, whether it's about criticism, whether they have some suggestions to make, or whether they are appreciating me or not. So it really does not matter. So, for me, my father, he's been my mentor, and his criticism has been very, very important and crucial to me. And the other thing that I have, that has made me come up to this level is something that, this school was started by my grandfather, late Shri G.C. Laganji. He was the founder chairman of the school, and he was a visionary man. And, keeping myself into the shoes of the head of the institution, I have always thought about, if there is a problem, if there is a challenge, what would have been his stand. And when I have a problem and when I'm not able to solve it, I actually ask myself this question: if this problem he would have faced, what would he has done at that particular moment? And I actually get the answer for that. And believe me, I am blessed. The Almighty has been very kind to me, that I've grown up in such a family which is very humble, down to earth, and where hard work has always been the key to success. And it is something that I have taken from my family. I've seen my grandfather, I've seen my father, and the way they have worked, and the entire family, the way and the passion that each one of us carry for doing something in the education field. I think that works a lot for me. That really works a lot for me. So
I see this as a trickle down effect of a brilliant parenting. That's what I understand from the conversation.
Absolutely, Kamalneet. I second that. And until some time back, I used to feel that during my schooling days, I was not given enough independence by my parents. They had their own reasons for that. And I really, have no complaints regarding it. But at the same time, today the times are changing, and I feel that if a youngster, if a child who's in grade 8, 9, 10 is not given enough independence, the way forward for him might be a little shadowy. And we need to give them that independence. We need to give them the charge to make decisions, and even make wrong decisions, and then support them. Because if they know that I'm making decision and there is somebody to look forward for it, I think that's a great support. And that's what I've got from my father. So, if I say that during my schooling I was not given that much independence, but I would really also go on to say that during my early years of my profession, I was given enough opportunity and enough support by my father, where he always supported me in all my decisions, and he allowed me to make wrong decisions. And then he never made me feel that, this decision was wrong, and this could have this repercussion. And the problems did occur. But then I always knew that there is a support behind me, and he will look after it. And that confidence, Kamalneet, is something that each individual definitely needs in the life. And even today, I am in his position. He's retired. But then today, even when I have to seek any advice, even if it's about the smallest thing, I definitely look forward to go back to him and tell him that, Dad, I've done this thing. And his just what, that's good, that, you can just go ahead. It gives us a lot of satisfaction to you that you are on the right track, and reassures you that your vision is aligned with what the family has been thinking about it. So it's like that.
Well, that's really, in fact, I really like the whole idea of you sharing your weaknesses, and I see that you're very, very vulnerable in terms of sharing your life as well. And just to add to that, I believe that one of the things that a parent can also do is to probably show, to keep the truth on the table the way it is. I think that makes a difference. While I was listening to you, and you very candidly said that I used to have my own defense mechanism, and then who does not? I think everybody has that, but very few people would agree to the fact that I used to have a massive defense mechanism that would show up, but very few people actually say that. And I think in today's world, well, the world is all about projecting the bright side. People are not really willing to talk about the dark side, their weaknesses, and things that did not go the right way for them. I think that's a great learning for me as well. And now that whatever you are doing today, and I see that you hold huge respect for what the family had percolated down in terms of values and in terms of their ideas that came through parenting. Now, I would want to take your ideas and take broadcast outside to the people, in general, parents in general, all across, that what would you say to the parents? What would be your top 3 messages to the parents that will make a difference in their life and in the life of their kids?
So I don't know, but there are a few that I ensure that I talk to my parents at school also. Whenever there is a parent-teacher meeting, or a parent is coming up with some problems or questions, then I just tell them a couple of things. Number one, allow the children to make mistakes. I think I've mentioned that earlier as well.
I'm sorry, I think I'm interrupting you, because I heard this a couple of times. I would, instead of now request, I'm using the word demand. I demand of all the parents watching this that tattoo this principle. Allow your kids to make mistakes while we are having fun and joking. But in the hindsight, the point is very strong. Vividh, I really had to stop you for that, because I really wanted the parent to take this particular point very seriously.
Yes.
Please carry
on. So, making mistakes is something which is very important, but talking about mistakes is also very important. So, once I have made a mistake, but as a parent, I'm allowing my child to keep making mistakes, but I do not address it. I do not talk out with my child, and I do not sit with him and ask him, what really went wrong? Let's look at the problem, and let's see how we could have corrected it. So that's also very, very important. So allowing mistake is one part of it, and then correcting it and discussing about the correction part is something which is very important. It goes as early as, in junior classes, when there is a spell test that the teacher would do, and we've done some errors, and the teacher will do the correction work. You remember those days? So, that do the correction, and the correction work was something which always let us ensure that, I have to make it correct, because if I do not do it, I have an extra work. I have to do the corrections again. So, that always allowed us not to make mistakes. That's something which is very important, right? The second thing I suggest to my parents is that, yes, you need to be very clear and open to your children, but at the same time, be very thankful to everything you have in your life in front of your children. Be it the God, be it your own father, be it your family, be it your teachers. Children look at parents as ideals. And the way I am going to act and react on a small situation, my child is going to pick that outlook and he's going to build that. There have been moments where I have picked up, my father has been my idol, my grandfather has been my greater idol. And given that, since they are my idols, I also saw, their perceptions, and I had picked up those perceptions as my perceptions. And now of lately, experiencing what is happening in today's world, I realize that some of those perceptions needs to be corrected. And I am trying to correct those perceptions at my own level. When I talk about, certain level of understanding of a particular thing, maybe, because of their own limitations, they were not able to see those things around themselves. And probably during their time, that was the best suited thing, best fitted at that particular moment. But today, probably the same thing might not work. So for me, as a educator in today's generation, I have to see what worked in my situation or not. That's very, very important. And this can only happen when you allow the child to think critically, making the child think critically, problem solve, and then take a decision. So the children should be always, when a father is sitting with the son or the daughter, or the mother is sitting with the kids, we should always be candid about the things that had happened with us. And we should talk it out with them. And we should ensure that our children are learning from our mistakes and our experiences. But at the same time, those experiences, those mistakes must not be thirsted upon them. It is something that they need to dwell into at their own. And that's what my father did. He did share his experiences of life with me, and today also he keep doing that. But at the same time, he would also leave a small remark at the end, and he will tell me that go out and try it yourself, because this is what has happened with me. Maybe you have had a different experience. So if you are not satisfied with what has happened with me, if you come across a similar situation, try it. There's no harm in doing it. And it's life, and until you have the sweet and sour tasted, it's not going to be enjoyable. So I feel when we talk about life, it's like food. So you need, sometimes you need sweet, sometimes you need sour, sometimes in life you happy with a great deal. So that's very important. I think as this message goes out to the parents must allow the children to make their own experiences and learn from them. That's very, very important.
That was a brilliant point that you shared. And I feel that, this took me back into my memory lane, my journey. While I was growing up, so there were some challenges, and there were some business losses that happened. And I remember that there was nothing that was hidden from me. My parents shared with me as to that this is something that has gone in a particular direction, and this is what probably the family is going through. And today, when I reflect back on those days, when I reflect back on what happened and what led to what, I see that my sensitivity to money, or my learning about money, or learning about the idea of that, yes, things can go wrong, but there would always be a message that would come from my parents that yes, now that this is the time that we have, and this will pass by, and we'll just have to be a little careful around money around this time. And that kind of taught me budgeting. That kind of taught me the value of money more than anything else. And there was another big lesson that I picked up as I I heard you also sharing that your father shared it with you. I realized that if parents share their life with the kids, if their true life, I think that also becomes a support mechanism for a child to have a different perspective, Second, they can even learn from a mistake that had already happened, so that they can, one, either avoid, or even if they want to go and make it on their own, they would have some hindsight to it, that this can lead to a particular direction. So that's a crucial point that you brought up. And my next one to you would be on skills that kids should pick up early. What skills that, though you have briefly touched upon it, and if you can share with us that what skills kids should pick up early in life that will make a difference when they get into the real world.
So, I have two, sides of it. When we talk about the skills, it could be the skills that work as passion for me at later stages. So, when I am talking about skills and look them at as my passion, so it could be playing guitar, playing keyboard, being, enjoying dancing, or just enjoy reading, sitting back in leisure time and reading. So it depends. And I think the schools are doing a great deal in this regard, and all the educators across the globe, they're making a great effort in this direction. That Kamali, today, even you and me, if for that matter, on weekends, on days when we are alone, we would want to do something which keeps us entertained, to keep us engrossed. It's very important for one to have one passion carried out at all times. So for me, it comes naturally. I write poems. So whenever I feel a little sad, or I'm too happy, or I'm alone, I would just want to pen down something, write an article, write some poetic lines, and then go about it. So it depends on person to person, but I think that's something which is very, very important to keep your mental health also upright. That's very important. Apart from that,
what about you?
Yeah. So I love writing. That's something which I am very fond of.
I think it is so true, because and I correlate with an angle. So I'm very fond of reading. So
Okay.
when I know that things are not probably in the right direction, even if they are in the right direction, and I just want to have a little leisure time, I can simply come into the library, and then I'm an avid reader, very, very fond of books, and I must confess that I keep ordering books, but I've not been able to read all of them. But yes, I would pick up a book, and then that changes the whole state of mind, and I can correlate to what you said. And while you write those poems, I think it takes you to a different world, and I think there is a sense of satisfaction that's what probably we go through.
Yes.
So yeah.
The other side of skill development is also looked at school, which we call, the linguistic development, and the mathematical part of it. So when we talk about that, I personally feel that today the world is changing very, very fast. And another skill that has quickly came in, especially during these past 8-9 months, is coding. There is sudden rush that everybody wants to learn coding and get into that field and want their children to learn that. But I feel that apart from before we step into the shoes of as a coder, it's very important that there is some mind involvement happening, and to ensure that the mind is fit and good. I think cubing is something which is very, very important. I love cubing. I used to be astounded when I saw my friends solving a Rubik cube very quickly, and then I never knew that until I thought that I should teach it to my son. So I learned it from YouTube and I taught it to my son. And then now he solves that cube. And it's a kind of a satisfaction. It increases and enhances your concentration. So that's something which is very important. Then I feel that, apart from that, chess is something which keeps you engrossed, which helps you think critically. There is a problem on the board, and then you try to solve that. So I feel that's very, very important and crucial in today's time. So even, if you go back, our games, our sports, they teach you a great deal. So fitness is something which must not be compromised. And if you involve the children at a young age into any sport activity, any kind of sporting activity which the child loves, I think that helps the child accept the defeat. That's very important. Become a leader, and a whole lot of activities, a whole lot of qualities you will see, become confident, being supportive, being empathetic. All these values, all these skills will eventually come from sporting. So I feel that sporting should not be ignored at an early age, and students and the kids must be allowed and exposed to as many sports as possible. They can choose what they like. If today they want to play cricket and tomorrow they want to do skating, or today they are doing skating and tomorrow they want to play lawn tennis, they should be allowed to do it, because it's something that you don't know where the world is going to take them, and wherever they are going to be there in a future life, we don't know which game would they prefer doing at that particular moment. So I think it's not a bad idea to allow and expose the children to different sporting activities.
Oh, brilliant. I picked up quite a few points from the conversation, and when the moment you spoke about coding, I had this whole idea in my mind that yes, coding is good. I recently had the privilege, God has been kind. I had the privilege to present on life skills at the TEDx platform. So I spoke about life skills on TEDx, and then in the conversation, so I'm somebody, I cannot really plan everything that I would want to say. I had just few bullet points that I wanted to talk about, and I ended up actually saying on the platform that coding is good, but what about decoding? It's equally important to help your child decode in terms of their self-awareness. What is it that they like? What is it that they want to do? So coding is great, yet at the same time, decoding is equally important.
It's very
and you spoke about chess, and I think all the parents watching, this is not only a conversation that's happening between us. So there's a golden nugget that he has very subtly passed on to you if you were to pick it, which is that while chess will make a huge difference in a child's strategy and in terms of their planning, because he said a very powerful line that he said a great line that there is a problem on the board, and we will always have some of the problem in the life happening. Chess is one game which will give you an ability to plan your next move given the problem. And not only did I see the byproduct of playing chess, if a family can play it, a father and a son, or a father or a daughter, mother, son, mother, daughter, if a family is playing chess, I think it will also create bond, which is yet an additional byproduct benefit of the whole game happening. And sports, yes, you asked me today, given pandemic, I still end up having conversation with my wife at times that I really feel that on a weekend I should be hitting the sports club and I should play volleyball, because you are remembered of the days from school and college then wherein you would actually spend a lot of time playing.
That's one of my favorite sports, by the way.
Is it?
I love
Is it?
Yes.
Yeah. Whenever a chance works out in that direction, I think we should probably try our hand on the same.
Absolutely.
Great. So you spoke about your son that you taught rubrics to your son. You learned it through YouTube, which is great. So I'll take that direction and ask you that something that you practice at home as a father, something that you do to set an example for your own child that helps in the whole process of parenting. Anything that you would like to share?
So, Kamalneet, I should be saying that I'm exploring. I'm very young to it. I'm very new to it. So I'm still exploring, and every new day I see other side of the life, and I am still exploring. So I really cannot comment on that at the moment. But yes, what I ensure is that I spend quality time with them. And also, whenever there's an opportunity, I ensure that I give them a very subtle, in a very nice manner, wrapped up, and I tell them that it's very important to be thankful in the life. To everything, whatever you have, the Almighty, to your parents, to your family, to your friends, to your teacher, to your school, that's very, very important. Rest, everything will follow. If you have that feeling of gratitude for people around you, I think the world becomes a happier space for us to live in. So that's very important.
We share quite a few thoughts in terms of what works and what one should do. So gratitude is another thing that I personally believe in. And I have, so if I like something and if I'm curious about something, I dive a little deeper. So what I did, I studied a couple of books around gratitude, and it's a little off tangent, but then I would like to share it a bit. There is a scientific connection to the whole thing. When you actually practice gratitude, they say that your energy and your vibrations, the way you feel inside, changes. And if the way you feel inside changes, it changes the things on the outside. And practically, and I think if kids can learn gratitude, I think happiness will be a byproduct of it. And I read this survey, the World Happiness Index survey 2020. Unfortunately, while probably we are talking about Finland and a couple of other countries in the top 5, I looked at India's position, and we are at 144th position on World Happiness Report 2020 out of 156 countries. So we're in the bottom side of it. And I think if we start, I think as a country, if we start practicing gratitude for what we have, if we can be thankful for that, I think the happiness levels will grow up. And not that we'll probably have a better position in the happiness report. That's a different matter altogether. But I believe that at personal level, the happiness levels will rise through the roof.
Kamal, here, which is very crucial, I believe that I should not be saying that, but I feel that, what we are teaching our children today is complaining. For every small thing, we teach the children complaining. The virtual school started, and there is a lot of noise where the parents and the students say that it's not working out. Have you actually tried your best? Find out that first. The teacher who's putting an effort to prepare the lessons and activities and come back to you in the virtual class, managing those 40 children who sometimes disturbs the class, keep speaking in between by unmuting themselves, or do not respond to the query of the teacher that she's putting up. Have we ever thought what effort it takes to do it? Before saying that this is not working out, let's look back at the history of our country, the mythology, where Eklavya was in a remote learning environment, and he learned from Dronacharya. Can we say that? So I believe that, if Eklavya, who has never been in a physical environment with Dronacharya, but had mastered certain skills, why is it that today the teacher is speaking directly to the children in the virtual environment? Let's accept it as an opportunity, and let's be happy about it. That today, the 8-9 months of pandemic where virtual schooling was happening, have we ever thought that our children, a second grader or third grader, would master the computer and manage the Teams app and the Microsoft platform independently? Something that we would not even expect an 8th grader. But today the students are so confident managing the laptops and the devices. I'm not saying that it is important to manage the digital world, but yes, this is the future. Let's accept it. That's very important.
Very valid point which is being made, and the way I would look at the whole scenario is that now that we have a situation which is happening, yet at the same time, if you look at the brighter side, the technological advancement that has happened not only for the teachers but also for the kids. I would have not expected kids to be tech savvy had the situation not happened. So not saying that the situation should have happened so that we learn it, but now that it has happened, what is it that we can do in terms of pulling out the best from it? And that's one. Second is that when you spoke about teachers, hands down, I fully support teachers. I think I went to this place called I think we can probably refer to a general term everybody would understand. We see this movie Transformers, right? The way they change the shape and their whole body dynamics to adapt to a given situation. I think when pandemic happened, I think the number one transformers that I would see a teacher as a transformer who actually transformed overnight and adapted to so much of changes happening around her. Did not give up. Did not step back. Yes, it was challenging for them, but they delivered on those challenges. And I think the grit of the teacher was seen. And I think while we talk about other frontliners, our teachers have been the real frontliners. And to all the parents who are watching this, I'm candid in saying this. I think this is the time they need your support. This is the time when they need you to be with them, because all these years, and even during the pandemic, they probably even leaving their kids and managing them, yet taking up the sessions for your kids. they've gone all out of the way, and they will continue to do so in the years to come, long after the pandemic gets over. That's going to happen. I think this is the moment when it's a humble request that I can make through this platform to all the parents. I think this is the time when you should extend your compassion, your support, and be there for the teachers and the school, because the situation will pass by. Yet what we make out of the situation is pretty much in our own hands. Yeah, I think yeah, I
I would just want to add one point to that, before we complain about anything, since we are talking about this particular situation of the pandemic and the virtual schooling, have we given a thought that, if the virtual platform would not have been there for all this while, for all these months, what would our children would have gone through? Let's think about it before we complain about it. So that's something which is very, very important and crucial. So it comes like, it's very easy to complain about whatever is happening around, but let's think about the situation if something was missing, if this wasn't happening at all. If today the children were completely at home, that has happened in the past during the pollution breaks. We've seen that over the past 5 years there were pollution breaks during the month of October, November, which were completely locked in the home. We could not prepare the children for the pre-board examinations, and then the revision was compromised, and everything has been compromised at schools. But then we had no choice. But today, the educators, the education community, the teachers have been very quick enough to bring about this change within their own selves and take it up as an opportunity to ensure that they are also learning something while they are making the children also learn. So I think before complaining, we need to have that perception also.
I think parents are there. It's a message that all of us, I think all the parents, I'm a parent too, and I actually see the kind of effort that the teachers are putting in. And as Vividh said, I think it's a very crucial point. What if the schools had not adapted and said, fine, dekh lenge, when the pandemic gets over, probably we'll look at teaching or learning, making them learn something again. It would have been a very different scenario. And I'll probably share something, and I think I'll not miss on this one. Let me share this. I was doing a workshop for parents, and it was right before. So I'm referring to 2019, and so what had happened was right before the break time. It was somewhere in the month of May that a session was happening, and that was supposed to follow with 1.5 2 months of summer break. And the parents said, itni lambi break kyun hai? And I said, it's good for the kids, right? They'll have fun, they'll play, and they'll probably go to their nanny's house, as we all would do when we were younger. And they said, do bachon ko ye 1.5 mahine sambhalna, it's not easy. And I laughed in the session, and I said, Madam, you know what? While you're referring to your 2 kids, a teacher is handling 40 kids in every single period from morning to afternoon. If you're talking about that, why do we have a 1.5 months break? Imagine that a child is coming to the school practically for the whole year, except that break. And she looked at me and she smiled. I said, Madam, you got the message. And I think if we can look at the brighter side, I think it's an opportunity for parents and the kids to practice conscious positivity, conscious optimism. I think this is a big opportunity in the moment, if we can capitalize on it.
That's
and brilliant. And I thoroughly, it was a lovely conversation, and I thoroughly enjoyed some brilliant examples coming from your side, and the kind of insights that you gave, not only about your life, but also in terms of what's really happening around and how can we make the best out of it. I know that if parents, they implement some part of it, it's going to make a difference in their life for sure. And I sometimes laughingly, and I end up saying that I'm mad, and so I'm mad about making a difference. And I think I saw another person who is equally mad about making a difference. And
you can say that.
I urge all the parents to see what can be done given the scenario, because now you have a very different perspective coming in from Vividh. And Vividh, thank you very much. It was really lovely having this conversation, and thanks for your time.